Jason stood in the middle of his new home, staring at the soft glow of the alien lights, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. His new wife, Lyra, floated into the room, her eyes sparkling like twin stars, and Jason smiled, thinking this was the start of a peaceful life, but peace would not come tonight, he realized, not with Lyra. "Jason," Lyra said softly, her voice like a song he could not forget. "I have a request. Something important." Jason blinked. He thought she would ask about dinner or perhaps some trivial household matter, but her tone was serious. He nodded slowly, waiting, unsure what would come next. Lyra walked closer, her long silver hair flowing behind her. "It is about my sister Mira," she said, her gaze steady on him. "She needs experience. With males. You will help her." Jason froze. He opened his mouth, but no words came. He thought he had understood her wrong. "Excuse me?" he said finally, his voice shaking slightly. Lyra nodded. "It is part of our tradition," she explained calmly. "Young females learn about interactions with males before they become fully adults. Mira is shy and she needs guidance. You will help her." Jason's heart raced. He had imagined many things when he married Lyra, adventures, new worlds, learning about alien culture, but never this. Never teaching her sister something so personal. I don't know if I can..." Jason started, but Lyra interrupted him with a gentle hand on his shoulder. "You can," she said. "I believe in you. You are human, yes, but you understand kindness, patience, and respect. Mira will trust you if you are careful. I know it is unusual, but it is our way. It is important." Jason swallowed hard. He looked at Lyra and then at the window where the city lights of New Earth glimmered like distant stars. Advanced technology, floating vehicles, and alien architecture surrounded him. In this world, humans and aliens lived together, but some traditions were still strange. To him, this request felt more than strange, it felt impossible. "Why me?" he asked quietly. "Why can't someone else do this?" Lyra smiled softly, almost sadly. "Because you are new, and you have an open heart. You do not judge. That is what Mira needs most." Jason's eyes shifted to the corner of the room where a small, slender figure peeked from behind a pillar. Mira's large, curious eyes watched him. She seemed nervous but also brave in her own quiet way. Jason felt a mix of fear and compassion for her. He could see the trust forming, even if she did not speak. Lyra continued, "It will be controlled, safe. Technology will help guide you both. You only need to teach, not harm. Mira's growth depends on understanding, not fear. But you must be willing to try." Jason took a deep breath. His mind raced. He remembered his training, his years, on Earth helping others, and the promises he made to himself. Could he really do this? Could he help another life without crossing boundaries? He looked at Mira again. The young alien's eyes were fixed on him, almost silently pleading. I will try," Jason said at last, his voice steady, though his stomach twisted in nerves. Lyra's face lit up. "Thank you, Jason. You do not understand how much this means. Mira will learn and grow. She will need your patience and your guidance." The room seemed to shift, as if acknowledging the weight of the moment. Jason felt a strange energy in the air, a mixture of alien presence and human tension. Mira moved a little closer, stepping out from behind the pillar, her eyes never leaving his. She seemed small, almost fragile, but Jason sensed something powerful hidden inside her, a quiet strength waiting to be discovered. "Are you ready?" Lyra asked softly. Jason nodded, feeling the tension settle into cautious determination. He glanced at Mira, who offered a shy nod in return. His heart raced, but he knew he could not back down now. The first step was to understand, to guide, and to protect. Lyra smiled again, almost like a mother proud of her family. "Then let us begin tomorrow. For tonight, rest. You will need strength, patience, and clarity. Tomorrow, you meet Mira fully. Everything will change from that moment. Jason sat down slowly, letting the reality sink in. His mind was full of questions, doubts, and fears, but beneath it all, a spark of curiosity and determination burned. This was his life now, intertwined with alien tradition, responsibility, and a challenge unlike any he had faced. Outside the window, the city shimmered under the night sky. Lights reflected on the glass, creating illusions of distant worlds. Jason watched them, realizing that in just a few hours, his ordinary life would end, and a journey into the unknown would begin. And he was not sure if he was ready. But there was no turning back now. The next morning, Jason woke to the soft hum of alien energy running through the walls of his home. The lights outside glowed with a soft pink hue, signaling the start of another day on New Earth. But today was different. Today he would meet Mira fully, and the weight of Lyra's request pressed on his mind like a heavy stone. Lyra floated into the room, her movements graceful as always. "Jason," she said, "today begins the first lesson. It will be simple, at first. Just understanding, just observing. Mira must learn the human way, and she trusts you to guide her." Jason nodded, trying to steady his racing thoughts. His stomach felt tight, and his hands fidgeted nervously. He had trained in many things, engineering, survival, even diplomacy, but nothing had prepared him for this. Lyra led him to a small, softly lit chamber at the back of the house. The walls were lined with alien panels, screens, and devices humming quietly. A faint blue mist filled the air, and Jason noticed that it seemed to react subtly to his heartbeat, pulsing lightly as he moved. "She will be here soon," Lyra said, her eyes glinting with an unreadable emotion. "Do not rush. Watch first. Let her feel safe." Jason took a deep breath and nodded. He sat on a small bench, glancing at the room and trying to imagine how this could possibly work. He knew nothing about teaching humans. How much more difficult would it be to teach an alien? A soft voice made him jump. "Hello." Jason turned and saw Mira standing at the entrance of the chamber. Her eyes were wide, nervous but curious. She was smaller than he expected, almost fragile, yet there was an intelligence in her gaze that seemed to weigh him carefully, as if measuring his intentions. "Hi," Jason said gently, smiling to ease the tension. "I'm Jason. I'm here to help you." Mira tilted her head, studying him. "Help me?" she asked softly, her voice almost a whisper. "Yes," Jason said. "Your sister says you need experience with humans. I'm going to guide you, nothing else," he added quickly, noticing the tension in her shoulders. "It's safe. I promise." Mira nodded slowly, still cautious. She took a small step forward, then another, until she was closer. Jason could see her hands trembling slightly, and his heart ached with sympathy. She was not just learning about humans, she was learning trust. Lyra moved to a console on the wall and activated a holographic panel. "Jason," she said, "the technology will help. It will simulate interactions, show feelings, reactions, and teach Mira about boundaries. Watch carefully. Do not intervene unless necessary. The lessons must be natural." Jason watched as a small device floated into the center of the room. It emitted a soft light and projected a shimmering holographic figure, a male human model demonstrating simple gestures, polite conversation, and respectful behavior. Mira's eyes widened as she reached out to touch the projection, her fingers hovering in awe. "This is your first lesson," Jason explained. "Observe, then try. The device will guide you." Mira nodded, her lips pressed together. She was quiet, but Jason sensed her curiosity. He noticed subtle movements in her eyes, tiny, sparks of understanding, questions forming without words. The alien intelligence was extraordinary, he realized. As the lesson continued, Jason guided her slowly. "Look at how he greets. See his hands? Calm, relaxed, respectful. You try." Mira mimicked the gestures, hesitating at first, then gradually, growing more confident. Jason felt a small relief wash over him. She was learning, yes, but she was also watching him, gauging his reactions, and perhaps testing his patience. Hours passed, and Jason noticed something strange. Mira's understanding was advancing faster than the device predicted. Her movements were precise, her attention keen, and occasionally, he caught a flicker of mischief in her eyes, as if she understood more than she let on. "Good," Jason said, smiling. "You are doing very well. Keep going." Mira paused, then looked at him, a question forming in her gaze. Jason felt a shiver. That look was not just curiosity. It was awareness, intelligence, and maybe a hidden power waiting to emerge. He wondered what Lyra had not told him. Lyra observed silently from the console, her expression calm but unreadable. Jason could feel the tension in the air, a subtle reminder that this was more than a lesson. There were rules he did not know, expectations he could not yet see, and consequences he could not yet predict. By the afternoon, Mira had completed several exercises. Jason was impressed and uneasy. She was learning, yes, but at a speed that made him nervous. He realized that this cultural lesson was not only teaching her, it was testing him too. As the sun set, painting the sky with shades of pink and gold, Lyra spoke softly. "You did well today, Jason." Mira responded beautifully. "Rest now. Tomorrow the lessons will become more personal, more connected. You must be ready." Jason nodded, exhausted but alert. He had survived the first day, but the weight of what lay ahead pressed on him. Mira's curiosity, intelligence, and hidden strength were more than he expected. He knew tomorrow would be harder. And somewhere deep in the room, Mira watched him with those wide, knowing eyes, a quiet challenge waiting to see if he could rise to the occasion. Jason closed his eyes, trying to rest, but his mind raced with questions. How far would this tradition go? What secrets was Mira hiding? And most importantly, could he guide her safely without losing himself? The answers would come soon. But for now, the first lesson was over, and the real challenge was only beginning. The next morning, Jason woke to the soft hum of the city outside. But unlike yesterday, the air in his home felt heavier, charged, as if the day itself was waiting for him to act. He rubbed his eyes and remembered Lyra's words from the night before. Tomorrow the lessons will become more personal, more connected. You must be ready, he sighed, straightening his shirt. More personal, he muttered. The thought made his stomach twist. What could be more personal than yesterday's lessons? Lyra appeared at the doorway, her silver hair catching the morning light. "Good morning, Jason," she said softly, but her smile was calm, almost unreadable. "Today will be your first real challenge. Mira must begin to apply what she learned. You will guide her, yes, but now she will act more independently. Watch closely. Correct only when needed." Jason swallowed hard. The first real challenge. That phrase echoed in his mind. Yesterday had been practice. Today would be the test. He followed Lyra to a new chamber. This room was larger, with a smooth, polished floor that reflected the alien lights above. Holographic screens floated mid-air, showing data, gestures, and various simulations. Jason could see faint outlines of other humans, all designed to help Mira interact and learn. And there she was, Mira standing at the center, her small frame poised, eyes wide with attention, but her face calm, almost confident. Jason felt a pang of surprise. She had absorbed yesterday's lessons faster than he imagined, but today was different. Lyra handed Jason a small device. "This will monitor her progress. If she struggles, it will alert you. Do not interfere unless necessary. Remember, this is about trust, observation, and experience." Jason nodded, gripping the device tightly. He watched Mira take a deep breath and approach the first holographic figure, a tall human male, projecting friendliness yet a hint of challenge in his stance. "Begin," Lyra said softly, stepping back. Mira hesitated for a moment, then started mimicking the gestures Jason had taught her. Careful steps forward, hands relaxed, eyes focused. She smiled politely at the hologram, a perfect replica of respect and curiosity combined. Jason's heart raced. "Good, Mira," he whispered. She turned briefly to him, seeking reassurance, and he nodded. Her confidence grew, and she returned to the task. The challenge increased quickly. The holographic figures began to act unpredictably. Some moved too close. Some spoke faster than expected. Others displayed subtle aggression. Mira's eyes widened, but she did not freeze. Instead, she adapted. She stepped back, nodded, raised her hands slightly and kept her tone calm and clear. Jason felt a mix of pride and fear. She was learning, yes, but at a speed that made him uneasy. She was not just following instructions, she was thinking, analyzing, and adjusting. He realized something important. Mira was far smarter than he had assumed. Suddenly, one holographic figure froze and the lights flickered. The device in Jason's hand beeped urgently. He glanced at it, an alert, indicating Mira might be overwhelmed. But Mira did not falter. She looked at the frozen figure, tilted her head, and made a small motion. A gesture she had never been shown. The hologram reacted instantly, resuming normal interaction. Jason's eyes widened. She had improvised. She had created a solution, on her own. And the device, supposed to alert him, remained silent. Mira was ahead of the system. Lyra's voice echoed softly, though she was at the console. "Excellent, Jason. Mira is ready for greater challenges. Observe carefully. She surprises even us sometimes." Jason swallowed, realizing that the lessons were no longer just about teaching. They were about understanding Mira's intelligence, patience, and hidden capabilities. Every move she made was deliberate, every decision precise and yet subtle enough that he could not predict it. The next exercise began. Two holographic figures approached simultaneously, each with different expressions, different tones, one friendly, the other slightly demanding. Mira's brow furrowed and she paused, thinking. Jason held his breath. She stepped forward, bowed slightly to the friendly one, her hands relaxed, then turned smoothly toward the demanding one, using calm gestures and soft words. Both figures responded positively. Jason exhaled slowly, astonished. She had handled them perfectly. Jason realized a chilling truth. This lesson was no longer a simple cultural exercise. It was a test of judgment, perception, and emotional intelligence. Mira was proving she could read, understand, and react to humans naturally, even beyond what the device was designed to teach her. Lyra approached then, her expression serene. "Jason, you must understand," she said quietly. "Mira's progress will now move faster than expected. Tomorrow, she may face situations that require not just learning, but trust. You must be ready to guide her, yes, but also to protect her from mistakes, hers and others." Jason's stomach tightened. Protect her. He had not expected that. The lessons had begun gently, but now he could see the truth. Mira's world, and his role in it, was far more complicated than he had imagined. By the end of the day, Mira had completed all exercises flawlessly. Jason was exhausted, mentally and emotionally, but a new respect had formed between him and Mira. She was not just a student, she was a force, a mind both curious and cunning, and Jason knew he would need all his patience, wisdom, and courage for the days ahead. As night fell, Jason watched Mira leave the chamber, moving gracefully, confidently, almost like a shadow gliding through the light. He felt both awe and unease. The first challenge was over. But Jason understood now. The real trials were only beginning, and Mira was not just learning. She was growing. Fast. The next morning, Jason woke to a strange silence. The usual hum of the city was faint, almost muted as if the world itself was holding its breath. He rubbed his eyes and noticed the soft glow of Lyra's lights, warmer than usual, casting long shadows across the floor. Today would be different, he could feel. Lyra appeared almost immediately, her presence calm but firm. "Jason," she said softly, "today is the secret test. Mira will face a situation she cannot solve with only knowledge or observation. She must use judgment, courage, and trust. You must be ready to intervene, but only if absolutely necessary." Jason swallowed hard. The first challenge had been hard, yes, but this felt heavier, more serious. He nodded. "I understand." Lyra led them both to a new chamber, smaller than the last, with a high ceiling and walls lined with shimmering panels. A soft green mist curled along the floor, hiding parts of the room from view. Holographic figures moved within the mist, indistinct and shifting. Their forms flickered like shadows in candlelight, making the room feel alive yet unpredictable. "This chamber simulates uncertainty," Lyra explained. "Mira must navigate through it, interact with the figures, and make choices that will affect the outcome. Observe her closely. The test begins when she steps forward." Mira stood at the entrance, her small frame tense but alert, eyes wide, scanning the mist as if she could see through it. Jason felt a surge of respect. She was not just cautious, she was aware. Jason whispered, "It's okay, Mira. Take your time." She nodded slightly, then stepped into the mist. The shadows shifted immediately, forming 3 figures in front of her. One human, one alien with sharp features, and one mechanical being that moved like a predator. Its glowing eyes followed her every movement. Jason held his breath. He could feel the tension, the invisible weight of the test pressing down on both of them. Mira paused, thinking. She remembered the lessons. Observe first, act second. Trust the instincts of others and herself. Slowly she walked forward, bowing slightly to the human, a respectful gesture. The human smiled, nodding approval. The alien stepped closer, its expression unreadable. Mira's hand hovered near her chest, a gesture of caution. The alien spoke softly in a language Jason didn't understand. Yet Mira tilted her head, listening carefully, then responded with a small sound she had learned. Yesterday, a sign of understanding and respect. The alien froze, then nodded, stepping aside. Jason exhaled slowly. She had not only remembered the lessons, she had applied them correctly in an unpredictable situation. Then the mechanical being lunged forward, fast, too fast for anyone to react. Mira jumped back instinctively, heart racing, eyes wide as the glowing figure circled her, testing her patience and focus. Jason's hand twitched toward the device, ready to intervene. Not yet, he told himself. Let her try. Let her decide. Mira's eyes darted between the 3 figures. She noticed the human watching calmly, the alien waiting, and the machine moving unpredictably. Her mind worked quickly. She took a deep breath, stepped forward and performed a series of gestures, a combination of what she had learned and what her instincts suggested. The mechanical figure stopped abruptly, tilting its head. The mist around it parted, revealing a small path forward. Mira had created order out of chaos. Jason's jaw dropped. She was thinking, adapting, and controlling the situation on her own. Lyra's voice echoed softly. Well done, Mira. You have passed the first stage of the secret test. Jason exhaled, relief washing over him. But he knew this was not the end. Lyra approached, her expression calm but serious. The second stage begins now. This is personal. Mira will face a choice, one that involves trust, risk, and understanding of human emotion. You must be careful. Jason's stomach tightened. Personal. He didn't like the sound of that. The first part had been challenging enough, but now, he realized the secret test was designed to see how Mira could handle situations that were not only practical, but emotional, unpredictable, and deeply human. The mist shifted again, revealing a small human child, holographic but eerily lifelike, crying softly as it reached out. Mira froze for a moment, instinctively bending down. Jason felt his chest tighten. "You must decide," Lyra whispered. "Protect, ignore, or engage. Your choice will determine the outcome of this stage." Mira's eyes flicked between Jason and the child. Her tiny hands shook, but she remembered the lessons: trust, empathy, observation. Slowly she reached out, her voice soft and careful. "It's okay. I am here," she said. The child smiled, the hologram dissolving into soft light. Mira had chosen empathy, trust, and action at the same time. Jason felt awe and fear. Awe for her intelligence, fear for what lay ahead. Lyra placed a hand on Jason's shoulder. "She is ready for the next level, but you, Jason, must also be ready. What comes next will test not only her but you as well." Jason nodded, exhausted but alert. Mira turned toward him, her gaze steady and knowing. Jason realized something chilling and wonderful. Mira was no longer just learning. She was growing, evolving, and becoming someone neither he nor Lyra could fully predict. The secret test was over for now, but the real challenge had only begun. And tomorrow, Jason understood, there would be no practice, only choices, consequences, and the truth of what it meant to trust a mind so brilliant, so cunning, and so unknown. The following day, Jason woke feeling an uneasy tension in his chest. The city outside seemed unusually quiet, almost as if it sensed the trial that awaited him and Mira. He rubbed his eyes and tried to shake the feeling, but it lingered like a shadow. Lyra appeared at the doorway, her silver hair shimmering faintly. "Jason," she said, her voice calm but serious. "Today brings an unexpected twist. Mira will encounter situations that test not only her skills but your judgment, patience, and trust. Be ready." Jason nodded, swallowing hard. The lessons had been difficult, but the secret test yesterday had left him shaken. Today's unexpected twist sounded like a storm waiting to strike. They entered the new chamber, larger than the previous ones, with walls of polished metal that reflected the dim, bluish light. In the center of the room floated multiple holographic figures, each appearing more lifelike than before. Some smiled, some sneered, others simply stared, unreadable, their intentions hidden. "This chamber simulates deception, challenge, and unexpected events," Lyra explained. "Mira must navigate carefully. Trust your instincts, Jason, but do not interfere unless absolutely necessary. Watch closely." Jason's stomach tightened. He had learned that Mira's instincts were sharp, perhaps sharper than his own, but the unexpected twist. He wasn't sure what to expect. Mira stepped forward, moving with quiet confidence. Her eyes scanned the figures as they began to shift rapidly, changing expressions, positions, and even species. One moment a friendly human, the next a threatening alien, one moment a child, the next a small predator. Jason's heart raced. "Stay calm, Mira," he whispered. Mira paused, then raised her hand slightly, signaling hesitation. She remembered Lyra's instructions. Observe, trust, act carefully. Slowly she chose a path, stepping toward a holographic figure that appeared friendly but could be dangerous. Suddenly the figure lunged, not physically, but its expression twisted into a cruel smirk. A holographic dagger appeared in its hand, pointing directly at Mira. Jason flinched. He wanted to step forward to stop it, but he remembered Lyra's warning. Do not interfere unless absolutely necessary. Mira froze for a heartbeat, her eyes narrowing as she assessed the situation. Then with a small gesture, she redirected the figure's attention, causing it to drop the dagger and smile again, friendly once more. Jason exhaled slowly, astonished. She had not panicked. She had adapted. Before he could recover, another figure appeared, this one a perfect replica of Jason himself. It spoke in his voice, "Mira, trust me, take my hand." Mira's eyes widened. The replica moved closer, reaching toward her. Jason felt a wave of panic. "That's me." "She won't know." Mira paused, her mind racing. She glanced at Jason, then at the replica. Instead of stepping forward, she placed her hands lightly on her chest, a gesture of caution and self-assurance. "I trust you, but only the real Jason," she said softly. The replica froze, flickered, and disappeared into the mist. Jason's jaw dropped. She had recognized the trick, the deception, and avoided it completely. His respect for her deepened, but so did the tension. What else could this test hold? Lyra's voice echoed from the console, calm but deliberate. "Now comes the twist. Mira must make a choice between two paths. One leads to immediate success but involves deception. The other is riskier, slower, but truthful. The outcome will affect her development and your trust in her." Mira's eyes scanned the paths. One path was glowing gold, tempting and smooth. The other, silver, uneven, uncertain. Her brow furrowed. Jason could see the struggle in her small face. "Jason," Lyra said softly, "observe but do not interfere. This is her choice." Mira took a deep breath. She glanced at Jason again, then toward the golden path. Her lips pressed together. Slowly, deliberately, she turned toward the silver path, stepping carefully yet confidently. Jason felt a mixture of pride and anxiety. She had chosen truth over temptation, risk over easy reward. It was a choice that spoke volumes about her character, her judgment, and her understanding of human morals. As she moved down the silver path, the chamber shifted violently. Holographic illusions of predators, traps, and collapsing floors appeared around her. Mira ducked, sidestepped, and moved with precision, her mind calculating every step. Jason's pulse raced as he watched, ready to act if she stumbled. Finally, she reached the end. The chamber stabilized. Lyra's voice filled the room. "Congratulations, Mira. You have passed the unexpected twist. You have shown discernment, courage, and wisdom. And Jason, you have observed well. Your trust in her is earned." Jason exhaled, exhaustion and relief washing over him. Mira turned to him, her small smile proud and calm. She had faced deception, challenges, and choices that no human might have handled so perfectly. Jason realized something profound. The unexpected twist had not been just about Mira's skills. It had been about testing the bond between them. Trust, understanding, and the ability to guide without controlling. Lyra stepped forward, her expression serene. Tomorrow the challenges grow even more complex. Mira's abilities will continue to evolve. And Jason, you will face tests that are as much about your judgment as hers. Jason nodded, knowing that the story was far from over. Mira had passed the unexpected twist brilliantly, but he understood now. The true challenges were only beginning. And in the quiet aftermath, he realized something else. He was not just her guide. He was part of her journey, intertwined in ways he could not yet predict. The lessons, the twists, the challenges, they had only just begun. The morning sun barely touched the horizon when Jason woke, his chest still tight from yesterday's unexpected twist. He knew today would bring the ultimate lesson, the one Lyra had been hinting at for days. Today would test not only Mira, but him as well. Lyra waited for them outside the chamber, her expression unreadable, calm yet commanding. "Jason, today is the ultimate lesson. Mira will face her greatest challenge yet. You will witness it, and you may need to act, but only if the situation becomes critical." Jason nodded, trying to steady his racing heart. He trusted Mira's instincts, but even she had limits, and this test promised to push them both to the edge. The chamber was unlike any before. It was vast, stretching beyond what the eye could see, with walls that seemed to move and shift, reflecting light and shadow in confusing patterns. A soft fog drifted across the floor, thick and curling like living smoke, hiding parts of the terrain and creating a sense of uncertainty. "This is the ultimate lesson chamber," Lyra explained. "It will challenge skill, judgment, morality, and trust simultaneously. Mira must navigate it alone. Every choice she makes will carry consequences. Observe closely. Mira stepped forward, small but determined. Jason felt a pang of worry. She had handled the tests well before, but this chamber, it seemed alive, aware, almost sentient in its design. From the fog emerged a series of holographic illusions, people, objects, and creatures from Jason and Mira's past experiences. Friends, enemies, strangers, all appearing at once, their intentions unclear. Mira froze for a heartbeat, then recalled Lyra's teachings. Observe first, trust instincts, act with clarity. A figure stepped forward, an alien male, tall and imposing, holding a device that seemed capable of causing immense harm. He spoke in a language Mira barely understood, yet she sensed the threat. Her eyes scanned the room, searching for options, evaluating risks, calculating possible outcomes. Jason's pulse quickened. He wanted to step forward to intervene, but he remembered Lyra's warning. Only act if absolutely necessary. Mira had to choose, and she had to do it on her own. Mira's small hands trembled as she reached for a lever on the wall, an instinctive choice guided by observation rather than understanding. The lever triggered a series of events. The fog shifted, revealing multiple paths, each with challenges. One path had a glowing light promising safety but containing unknown risk. The other was dark, filled with obstacles, but likely the truthful path. She paused, then chose the dark path. Jason's stomach tightened. She had chosen risk over ease, truth over comfort, instinct over guidance. As she moved, holographic figures appeared, replaying events from their earlier lessons. Figures representing fear, greed, curiosity, and deceit. Mira dodged, parried, and interacted with them, making choices that reflected not only what she had learned but who she had become. At the center of the chamber, a new figure emerged, a holographic version of Jason himself, looking distressed, and trapped behind a barrier, calling out to her, "Mira, help me. Please." Jason froze. This is the ultimate test of trust, he realized. She must decide between me and the chamber. Mira's eyes darted between the illusion of Jason and the path ahead. Her chest rose and fell rapidly, her mind working. Through every lesson, every instinct, every shred of knowledge she had gathered. She hesitated, then took a deep breath. "I will help you," she said softly, and moved toward the barrier. The barrier reacted to her movement, splitting into a complex puzzle of lights and locks. Jason watched in awe as Mira analyzed the puzzle, recalling patterns from the previous tests. Her hands moved with precision, manipulating levers, pressing sequences, aligning symbols. Hours seemed to pass in moments. Jason's fear and hope twisted together as he watched her navigate the final stage. The chamber challenged not just her intellect, but her patience, her judgment, and her trust in him and herself. Finally, with one final gesture, the puzzle aligned perfectly. The barrier dissolved and the holographic Jason stepped forward smiling. Mira smiled back, exhausted but triumphant. Lyra's voice filled the chamber, calm and approving. "Congratulations, Mira. You have completed the ultimate lesson. You have demonstrated judgment, courage, trust, and understanding far beyond what we anticipated. Jason, you have observed well. Your guidance, trust, and restraint have contributed to her success." Jason exhaled, relief and pride flooding through him. Mira turned toward him, her small figure glowing softly in the chamber's light. "We did it," she whispered, not as a command, but as a shared victory. Jason nodded, realizing the truth Lyra had been teaching him all along. The ultimate lesson was not only about Mira's growth, but theirs together. Trust, judgment, and restraint were as vital for him as they were for her. Lyra stepped forward, her eyes softening. "Tomorrow, you will leave the chamber. But remember this. The lessons will stay with you, shaping every choice and every action. The ultimate lesson is never truly over. It continues in every decision you make. Jason looked at Mira, exhausted, proud, and amazed. She had grown beyond a pupil, beyond a student. She was a partner, an equal in instinct, judgment, and courage. And as they exited the chamber together, Jason understood something deeply important. The ultimate lesson was about more than survival, skill, or intelligence. It was about trust, understanding, and the unbreakable bond between them. The future challenges would be real, unpredictable, and unavoidable. But together, Jason and Mira had proven they could face anything. The sun had barely risen when Jason and Mira stood at the entrance of the final chamber. The air was thick with anticipation, every step echoing like a drumbeat in the silent corridor. Jason felt a strange mix of fear and pride. He knew this was the moment everything would be decided. Lyra appeared before them, her silver hair catching the pale light. "Jason, Mira," she said calmly, "this is the final choice. Everything you have learned, everything you have endured leads to this. Mira must make a decision that will define her future, and yours. Watch closely, but intervene only if it is necessary." Mira stepped forward, her small figure resolute. She had faced deception, moral tests, and illusions of danger before, but this chamber was different. It seemed alive, reacting to every heartbeat, every thought. The chamber shifted, revealing two massive doors at its far end. One was engraved in gold, glowing softly, promising power, influence, and recognition. The other was silver, simple and unadorned, leading to unknown paths, risks, and challenges, but also truth and trust. Jason swallowed hard. He understood immediately. This was the ultimate test of character. Gold meant reward at the cost of morality. Silver meant hardship, but integrity. Mira's eyes flicked from one door to the other. Her breath came in steady, measured pulls. She closed her eyes for a moment, recalling everything Lyra had taught her: patience, observation, judgment, trust, courage, and the lessons Jason had helped her learn. Suddenly, the chamber reacted. Holographic images of people they had met. Both friends and foes appeared. The gold door glowed brighter, and whispers filled the room, tempting her, promising glory. The silver door remained quiet, almost hidden, as if asking her to trust it silently. Jason reached for her hand instinctively, then stopped. This is her choice. She must make it alone. Mira opened her eyes and stepped toward the silver door, her small hand brushing the cold metal. The chamber trembled slightly, the air thickening around her as if testing her resolve. From the shadows emerged illusions of doubt, failures, fears, and risks she might face if she chose the silver path. One figure, a dark mirror of Jason, spoke in a distorted voice. "Choose the gold. Power, safety, and certainty." "Why risk yourself?" Mira hesitated just for a moment, then shook her head firmly. "I choose what is right, not what is easy," she said, her voice clear and unwavering. The illusions vanished, and the chamber opened, revealing a corridor bathed in soft silver light, lined with symbols of past lessons. Each symbol represented a trial she had overcome: the deception test, the trust challenge, the ultimate moral decision. She walked forward, each step deliberate, her confidence growing with every movement. Jason followed closely, feeling the weight of the moment. He realized that Mira's choice was not just about the doors. It was about integrity, courage, and the bond they had formed. Her path reflected not only her growth but their shared journey. Suddenly, the corridor narrowed, forcing Mira to confront a final challenge. Holographic figures of her own fears rose before her: failure, regret, and the shadow of doubt. Each figure spoke, tempting her to turn back, to choose safety over trust. Mira took a deep breath, recalling every lesson, every moment of courage, and Jason's guidance. "I will not falter," she whispered. With each step, the figures dissolved, unable to sway her conviction. At the end of the corridor, a pedestal appeared with two objects: a glowing crystal and a simple silver key. The crystal pulsed with golden light, tempting and powerful. The silver key was modest, unassuming, yet it radiated trust and potential. Mira reached for the silver key, her fingers brushing the smooth metal. The chamber shook violently, as if challenging her decision, but she held firm. Jason exhaled, relief and admiration washing over him. She had chosen truth, trust, and integrity over temptation and ease. Lyra's voice echoed, calm and approving. Congratulations, Mira. You have made the final choice. You have demonstrated wisdom, courage, and moral clarity. Jason, you have witnessed true growth and strength. Your trust and guidance have helped shape this outcome. Mira turned to Jason, a tired but radiant smile on her face. We did it, she said softly. Together. Jason nodded, feeling a profound sense of pride. She had not only survived every challenge, but had grown into someone far beyond what he had imagined. Her final choice was a testament to her character and to the bond they had formed through every trial. As they left the chamber, the world outside seemed brighter, the air lighter. The trials were over, but their journey together had only begun. Mira had faced every test, conquered every challenge, and made the ultimate choice. Jason realized that the lessons they had learned went far beyond the chambers, illusions, and trials. They had discovered courage, trust, and the power of integrity. And in that moment, he understood a truth that no test could teach. The greatest growth comes not from easy victories, but from the choices we make when faced with the impossible. The chamber doors closed behind them, but the lessons, trust, and bond they had built would remain forever.